July 11th, Tesla put Cybercabs on the road at Giga Texas with actual employees riding in them. That's the car Sandy Munro's team tore apart with a torque wrench to confirm the number wasn't a typo. 60% fewer parts than a Model 3. Not tightened a few bolts, it's threw out the recipe book. So where did all those parts go? More specifically, where did all the welds go? Because if you've owned a car built the old-fashioned way, picture 100 robot arms on the line, each one welding one little steel panel onto the next all day, every day. That's how your old car got built. Well, all those robot arms just got laid off.
And before you fire off an angry comment, no, I'm not saying every single weld on the entire vehicle vanished into thin air like my hairline did in my 40s.
I'll get to the fine print. But the big picture here is real, and it's happening on a factory floor in Texas right now. I'm walking you through what's confirmed and what's my own educated guess. And I'll tell you flat out which is which as we go, because I'm not in the business of feeding you fantasy. Leave that to the guys yelling at you from thumbnails with red arrows and shocked faces. That's not us. What is Giga Press actually doing? They toss around the unboxed process like it's a cute nickname, slap it on a headline, and move on. It's a completely different way of building a car, and it's honestly kind of ballsy if you think about it. In a traditional factory, building a car is like building a sandcastle one bucket at a time, in a straight line, station after station, for hours, while some guy checks his watch every 10 minutes. Tesla said forget the line and started building the car in chunks at the same time. Front section over here, rear section over there, floor somewhere else, and they all meet up at the end like it's a family reunion, except this one actually shows up on schedule. The front and rear sections, the parts that used to be dozens of individually stamped panels welded together one painstaking piece at a time, are now a single aluminum casting that comes out of a press the size of a small house. One casting instead of over 100 stamping and welding steps. That number is confirmed. That's not me exaggerating for views. And instead of melting metal together with heat, the remaining sections get bonded with structural adhesive, which is really just an aggressive term for industrial strength glue, plus some good old-fashioned bolts. Does no welding mean a weaker car? Now I know exactly what you're thinking, because I'd be thinking it too if I hadn't done the homework. You grew up trusting a car because it was a chunk of welded steel, heavy, solid, built like it could survive a demolition derby. And now I'm telling you the new one is held together partly with glue. I get it. It sounds like something your nephew would suggest after watching one too many YouTube shorts. A welded body is a bunch of separate pieces stitched together at specific points. Every one of those weld points is a seam, a spot where two different chunks of metal are relying on each other to behave nicely under stress for the next 10 years. Over time and enough bumps in the road, those seams are usually the first place metal fatigue shows up. Welds aren't bad, they're proven, they've held up cars for a century. But there are a lot of them, and every single one has to do its job perfectly, forever. A single casting skips that whole drama. It's one continuous chunk of metal, no seams playing telephone with each other. The engineer who tore one apart put it best. He said, "Castings behave like stone. They don't flex against each other the way a pile of separate stamped panels can, because there's nothing next to them to flex against. Less pieces, less opportunity for pieces to argue with each other." In the thinner, non-structural sections of these castings, there have been some reported hairline cracks, which in rare cases let water sneak in where it shouldn't. That's real, it's documented, and it's a genuine growing pain of this technology. I'm not going to pretend Tesla invented a flawless process, because nobody has, ever, in the history of manufacturing anything. It's a real challenge they're working through, and I trust that more than a suspiciously perfect story. What's actually in it for you? Enough physics class. Let's talk about what actually lands in your wallet. First, cost. Fewer manufacturing steps means less time on the line, a smaller factory, and Tesla's stated target is a 50% cut in production cost with a 40% smaller footprint to build it in. You don't need a finance degree to guess what happens to a price tag when the cost of making the thing drops in half. That's the entire point of the affordable EV program and literally why this exists. Second, fewer places for stuff to go wrong. Every weld, every seam, every joint is a spot where something could theoretically fail down the road. Corrosion, fatigue, or just a bad weld from some tired guy on the night shift. Fewer joints statistically means fewer weak spots over the life of the car. I'm not telling you this makes the car bulletproof. Cars are still complicated machines built by humans and robots that both have bad days. But fewer joints equals fewer weak spots is just basic math. Third, weight. And this one actually matters to you specifically, because I know range anxiety keeps some of you up at night more than your knees do. A single casting, done right, weighs less than the pile of steel panels, brackets, and welds it's replacing. Less weight means the battery isn't hauling around dead weight, which means more miles out of the same battery pack. Now, analyst hat on, this next part is my estimate, not a Tesla press release. Nobody at Tesla has published an exact weight number for the upcoming Model 2 yet. We're going off the Cybercab pattern, and it's a reasonable bet something similar carries over. I'm not going to hand you a fake number and call it fact, because I'd rather you trust me next week than impress you for 5 minutes today.
And speaking of Tesla being cheapskates on purpose, an IPO filing from a Chinese robotics company called Unitree dropped last week, and it actually named Tesla's Optimus robot as a direct competitive threat.
The reason? Optimus Gen 3's parts cost has apparently been driven down to around $28,000, closing in on what Unitree charges for its own robots. So this isn't just a car thing anymore, folks. Tesla is running the exact same cut the fat, cut the cost playbook on a robot with hands and legs instead of wheels. All right, quick pause, because I owe you something and I'm going to be upfront about it instead of sneaking it in like some awkward mid-roll ad. We're closing in on 35,353 subscribers. Yes, oddly specific number, but I'm not about to round it up just to sound impressive. If you made it this far into a video about glue and metal castings without dozing off, you're exactly my kind of person. So hit subscribe, costs nothing, keeps me checking Tesla's homework instead of just reading you their press release. Back to the good stuff. What's actually happening inside Giga Texas right now? This is where it stops being a nerdy theory and starts being an actual factory you could drive by if you happen to be in Austin and had nothing better to do. The Cybercab is the first vehicle built with the full unboxed process, and it's in real production at Giga Texas right now, and it's got company on that floor. The new Model YL, the 6-seat version, is ramping up alongside it at the same site, so this isn't one fragile experimental line limping along, it's multiple product lines running at once. Just last week, Tesla confirmed Cybercab units are starting to give employee rides around the Giga Texas campus. Funny thing is, Tesla's own VP teased this as some massive cool news announcement coming July 7th. Built it up for a week like it was going to be a keynote.
It landed a few days late, on the 10th, 11th, and the big reveal was rides around a parking lot.
So, minor gap between the hype and the delivery there. Classic. But read between the lines, that means the line is stable enough that Tesla trusts these things with actual humans riding in them daily, even if it's just around the parking lot for now. Now, for some context, because context is where this gets fun for you as a buyer just watching from the couch, Rivian's cheapest R2 trim doesn't show up until late 2027. Ford's $30,000 electric pickup is targeting 2027. GM's affordable Bolt revival also aiming at 2027. Every competitor is talking about this manufacturing shift like it's a future birthday party they're still planning invitations for. Tesla is already at the party, cake's half gone, and people are riding in the thing. That gap matters a lot more than a spec sheet ever will. My honest guess, clearly labeled as a guess. A lot of folks in the Tesla community think this Cybercab ramp is basically dress rehearsal before Model 2 gets the same treatment. Reasonable read of the pattern. But Tesla hasn't put out an official timeline confirming Model 2 gets the full unboxed process on day one. I'm connecting dots that look connected. Could be wrong. That's what the comments are for, so go ahead and tell me if I'm off. Where this leaves us, let's be straight about what's rock solid versus what's me squinting at tea leaves. Confirmed, the unboxed process is real. Running at Giga Texas today, replacing the old welded body shop with castings and glue, and it's already slashed parts count by 60% on the Cybercab. My own estimate, based on that pattern but not officially confirmed by Tesla, exactly how much weight comes off Model 2, exactly when it gets the full process, and exactly what that means for crash performance on a car that hasn't even launched yet. I'd rather tell you plainly which parts are hard data and which parts are me reading tea leaves instead of pretending I've got some inside source at Giga Texas slipping me secrets over coffee. I don't. If you think I'm reading those leaves wrong, tell me, genuinely, that's a good conversation, and I'm not too proud to have it. So here's the real question for you. Does building a car this differently make you more confident in it? Or does it just make you nervous, old school, give me my steel and my welds nervous? Drop a yes if the casting approach has you sold. Drop a no if you're still not buying it.
I'll read every single one. And yes, I will absolutely argue back if you're wrong.